Alright, this video is going to be going over major scale key signatures, how to build them, how to understand them, okay? So I did just draw out a little piano because that's going to help. The first thing that I want to talk about is the difference between whole steps and half steps. That's going to help a lot in building a major scale. So a whole step is if you're looking at a keyboard you're going to skip one black note and go to the next white one. So you're going to count 1, 2, that's a whole step. So from C to D, that's a whole step. Again, you can count 1, 2, D to E as another whole step, right? If we're talking half steps, that's going to be literally right next to each other. So F to F sharp is a half step, and then F sharp to G is a half step, so on and so forth. Those are half steps, and then these are whole steps, okay? As long as you can understand wholes and halves, you can totally build a major scale. A major scale is a total of 7 different notes all contained within an octave following a specific pattern. That specific pattern is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half pattern, okay? So that's counting your steps, all right? And then it's all within an octave. So an octave is from one C to another, or one F to another, so on and so forth. I did kind of talk about that in my other video. So what we're going to do is we're going to first build a C major scale using this pattern. So I'm going to start on middle C using treble clef. We're going to go up a whole step. So you can use this if you'd like, or you can just kind of think about sharps and flats and what you might need to add to achieve wholes and half steps, okay? So we're going to start here on C. We're going to go up a whole step, which I've already done once, right? So we're going to skip C, C sharp, D. D is our next note. Next, we're going to go up another whole step, and that's going to be D to E. Now we're going to do a half step. Now, what's really cool about the piano is that your half step kind of lands right here. So E to F is technically a half step, even though there's no sharps or flats involved, right? Next, we're going to go up another whole step. So we're here on F. We're going to go up a whole step, which brings us to G. Then we're going to go up another whole step, which brings us to A. One more whole step brings us to B. And then last but not least, we're going to go one half step, and that's going to be B to C. All right? So C major actually has no sharps or flats. We didn't have to add any flatted notes, any sharp notes, or anything to obtain this major scale. So we're C to C, 7 distinct different notes, and then it's following this pattern, which is great. Let's do one while we use that we'll use an accidental. Okay, so let's start on G instead, and let's change it up. We're going to do bass clef, just for all you bass clef people out there. Okay, so we're going to start on G. We're going to go a whole step. So I know this is a little bit written over, but that's okay. We're here on G. We're going to go one whole step, G to A. Sorry, this marker is dying a little bit. Let me see if green works. Ooh, green works. I'm going to use green now. Okay. We're going to go G to A is a whole step. We're going to go another whole step. A to B is a whole step. We're going to go a half step, which again is right here in the keyboard. So we're going to go B to C. C to D, because we need a whole step. D to E, another whole step. E to F is actually a half step. So we don't want that. We want one more whole step. So we want to go E, half step, and that lands us here on F sharp. So that means that we took F and we raised it a half a step, so sharp. And then last but not least, we're going to end with that half step. So we're on F sharp back to G. So as you can see here, we have a G major scale, but we had to add in an accidental to create this specific pattern that we were trying to achieve, right? So this is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half steps, right? Now, you can obviously always start on the starting note, use a keyboard, count out your whole steps, half steps, add in your accidentals like what you need, but there's actually a couple of tools that we can use that will make it a little bit faster. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to talk about is your order of sharps, okay? So that means that when we add a sharp to a scale, it's always going to be in the same order. So that means, like, obviously C has no sharps or flats. No sharps, no flats, I'm going to do that, right? Then we just wrote out G major and it had one sharp, right? And that's always going to be F sharp, all right? Now, a little bit of a spoiler, the next one into the row is going to be a D major scale. Now that's going to have two sharps. It's going to contain F sharp and C sharp. All right, and now you're going to see so on and so forth. We're going to have an A major scale has three sharps. It's going to be F, C, and then it's going to add G to that, okay? So on and so forth. Every time that you go to a scale, you're going to keep the same one that was added and then add another one. So there is actually an order of sharps that will help you with this. And that is fat cats go down alleys eating bugs. So that means with our 1 sharp scale, it's going to be F sharp, 2 sharp scale, F and C, 3 sharp scale, F, C, and G sharp, 4 sharp scale, obviously so on and so forth, until you have a 7 sharp scale, okay? Actually, I'm going to erase this too, and then I'm going to put the order of sharps that way. Fat cats go down alleys eating bugs, okay? So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to actually tell you what those 7 scales are, or yeah, 7 scales that have the 7 sharps. So obviously, I'm just going to do it in treble. We had 1 sharp is G, 2 sharps, which is going to be F and C sharp, F sharp, C sharp, it's going to be D. 3 sharps, F, C, G. I'm actually going to keep this a little bit less crowded. Maybe I'll do this. All right, there we go. 1 sharp is G, 2 sharp is D, 3 sharp, fat cats go, 3 sharp is A, right? 4 sharp, so I'm just using this guide, right? So I'm just adding one more, D, E. And then we have 5 sharp, which is going to be B. And then I'm just going to finish it down here. 6 sharp. It's going to be F sharp. And then last but not least is our 7 sharp with the B sharp at the end, and that's going to be C sharp. So these are all your sharp major scales. G major, D, A, E, B, F sharp major, C sharp major. Now a cool little guide with this is actually you can take your last sharp and then go a half step higher than that. So a half step away from F sharp is G. A half step away from C sharp is D. A half step away from G is A. A half step away from D sharp is E. So on and so forth. You can find your last sharp of that scale, go up a half step, and then you get the key that it is. So obviously you can then write it out, D to D, make sure you have an F sharp and a C sharp. Now the same thing kind of works with an order of flats as well. So these are 7 sharp scales. We also have 7 flat scales because there's only 7 accidentals that you can add to an octave, or sorry, 7 notes obviously in a scale. The order of flats is actually just the reverse of the order of sharps. So that's going to be A, D, G, C, F. All right. So we're going to do that. The first flat scale is going to be F. Second. So again, you're going to go B flat, E flat is for number 2. B, E, and A is for 3. Sorry, this is a B flat scale. This is an E flat scale. B, E, A, D is A flat. We're going to go on to 5. B, E, A, D, G. It's going to be D flat. I'm going to go down here. B, E, A, D, G, C, which is going to be G flat. And then we have B, E, A, D, G, C, and then F. Right, okay, and that's going to be C flat, okay? So these are your 7 flat scales. F, B flat has 2, E flat has 3, A flat has 4, right? Now, the trick for the sharps doesn't work here. You can't take like the last flat and go up a half step and get the key signature. But excluding F, as long as you can just remember that F has 1 flat, you're going to be okay. You take the second to last flat, and that's your scale, right? So we have second to last is B flat, second to last is E flat, second to last is A flat, so on, so forth, D flat, G flat, and then C flat, right? Except for F, it just doesn't work for F, but it's pretty easy to just remember that F has one flat. All right, so that's pretty cool. Those are all of your key signatures. You can take whatever you want from it. If you want to write a D flat major scale, just start by writing a D flat on the clef and then writing D flat to D flat and include these 5 notes that will have a flat on it, okay? What we can do from there is use this really cool thing called the circle of fifths. All right, so this is a way of visually organizing how these scales kind of work, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just draw a large circle and make it into a clock. So we're gonna put 12 points on it because there's only 12 notes, period. There's only, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, whatever. There's only 12 of them, okay? Now this is a way of organizing your key signatures in a really nice and visual way, okay? So we're gonna put C at the top because it's the special one. It has no sharps, no flats. I'm gonna put 0, 0, nothing. All right, on this side of the clock, we are going to do sharps. On this side of the clock, we're going to do flats, okay? Now we're going to go up and we're going to do 1 sharp, 2 sharps, 3 sharps, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. We can't do any more than 7, right? And then this way, we're going to do 1 flat, 2 flat, 3 flat, 4, share the 5, share the 6, and then share the 7. I'll talk about that, okay? Cool. If you want to go back to what I was just talking about, you can rewind the video and you can look at the list of all the scales that I had, right? 1 sharp was G, right? Or you could think, if you're going fat cats go down alleys eating bugs, you take F sharp, go a half step up, you're going to get G, right? And then our 2 sharp was D, A, E, B, F sharp, C sharp. All right. Now, this is called a circle of fifths because these notes are a fifth apart, okay? So if you go C, D, E, F, G, 5. G, A, B, C, D, 5. D, E, F, G, A, 5, right? So you're gonna just go up a fifth every time, and then it just happens that it adds 1 sharp every time following this, right? Now, the flats are a little bit different. You actually have to go up a fourth or down a fifth would get you there. So we know that F has 1 flat. Again, you can use this if you want to, and then just think about 1 behind. So B flat has 2 flats because it's 1 behind, right? E flat has 3 because it's 1 behind, right? And then you can just do A flat, D flat, G flat, and then C flat, okay? So this is a really nice guide. This is in the PDF on your Canvas as well, so you can please feel free to use that as a resource. It also explains kind of everything that I'm walking through here. These ones are special because these are called enharmonic notes, right? So if we were on a keyboard and I went to a B, all right, we're gonna just do a really quick keyboard here. Oh, I guess I should go this way. Great. So on and so forth, right? So let's say that we're here on a B. It's actually the same as C flat. So you would take a C and go down a half step, and where do you land on B? Same thing with F sharp and G flat. Here is, I guess this was going to be a group of 3. There we go, yeah. So here's an F sharp, and then a G flat is actually the same exact note. So that means that they are enharmonic notes. They are the same exact notes, just with a different label. All right, so that should get you through all of that second worksheet. This is talking about major scales, writing them out, using accidentals to achieve your wholes and half steps. I gave you the whole list of all of the key signatures. I gave you the circle of fifths, and then you can also, again, go online and look at the PDF of chapter 1 of the textbook. Great, thank you.